officially day 13 of 31 Days of Horror-Ween 2017. We're still in the 1960s, the very, very late 1960s, 1969 to be exact, and we're going back to Japan for one of the weirdest damned horror films, not just in the 1960s, but probably ever, because I'm not really sure how to describe this one, because it's all over the place. Well, anyway, it's called Horrors of Malformed Men, and you know what? I really don't know the best way to describe it in one sentence, except that it's really, really out there. Alright, so the basic premise is you have this guy, and he starts off the movie, he's a prisoner of some kind. You don't really know what he did, but he's in a prison with a whole bunch of like nymphomaniacs who are naked in like 3 minutes. By the time we're in the movie for 3 minutes, they're already naked. And like they're trying to like basically just like rape him, I guess. And then we have this guard come in and beats him around for a little bit. And eventually he winds up going to a secluded island. It's not really 100% explicit why he's going there, but he's got to roll with it. It's a mystery movie. And from there it becomes kind of like a cross between The Wicker Man and Shutter Island. We had this guy exploring like this really bizarre like atomic nuclear bomb cult, but they're all like sexual maniacs too. And I just don't want to tell you guys, because I mean there's a lot of out there stuff in this movie. You really don't know what to expect. You got people cross-dressing, you got an incest subplot, you've got a lot of nudity, and the movie ends with a dude's head exploding while really, really like upbeat celebratory parade music plays. So it's definitely a genre tempo setter, that's for sure. It's one of those movies where first time I've seen it in a long, long time, and I didn't really know what to make of it the first time I saw it all those years back, and rewatching it for this countdown, even now I'm like, I really don't know what to make out of that. I know it's kind of funny because it's made by Toei, same guys who were making the Kamen Rider TV show at the same time really as this movie, so that's out there. But clearly, it's had a profound influence. I mean, you can see the influence of this movie on a whole bunch of, modern Japanese movies, a lot of Category 3 Hong Kong films as well. So it's not without having some artistic merit. And overall, I mean, it's a pretty entertaining little movie because you really don't know what's going to happen next. It kind of keeps throwing weird stuff at you. And I think just as a sociological sort of experiment, it's pretty intriguing because, you look at the way the 1950s ended. You ended with stuff like The Tingler. In the West, at least, it was still kind of reserved and very rooted in traditionalism. And then 10 years later in Japan, forget it. You got, full frontal nudity, you've got people getting their heads cut off, you've got explosions, you got, psychosexual maniacs, you got every kind of like sexual deviancy you can think of being, basically thrust at you. So, yeah, the Japanese, they're ahead of the curve as far as degenerate cinema is concerned. They were really outdoing the Western guys at the time. But all that to say, is it a good movie? Well, not really. Compare something like The Wicker Man, which is kind of the same template. Really bizarre. They kind of have that same sort of motif going on. It's not even close. That's a really, really great movie with really great pacing and really great cinematography and a great story. And this one, I mean, it's interesting, but I really wouldn't go out and say it's legitimately great. I mean, the acting is above average. You got some pretty cool shots. You got a really nice Technicolor look going on. And the ending where you're introduced like all of like the weirdos on the island, that part's pretty cool. That's very memorable. But the stuff in between, I mean, it gets very repetitive. There are scenes where, they do some love scenes that don't really go anywhere. And at the end of the day, you kind of left your head scratching like, what was the point of the movie? Because there's not really a clear resolution. And, I don't know, you just see a bunch of freaky things. And I guess that was the big appeal back in the day. But yeah, it's a controversial movie to this day in Japan. I think it wasn't actually allowed on VHS or DVD up until like 2008 because they said it made fun of, atomic bombing victims, which I'm just not seeing, but whatever. They can censor movies however they want. So yeah, all that to say, it's a very interesting film, very transgressive, very cutting edge there as far as being an extreme art house movie, but calling it legitimately great horror cinema, okay, yeah, that'd be going a little bit too far. But still, it's pretty interesting as far as, being an aesthetic experience and just jumbling up with an experimental narrative. Not bad. Might be going out of your way to see if you have a really fond taste for esoteric extreme cinema. But if not, you can probably live comfortably without ever seeing it. Alright, using our patented tofu dog rating system, I'm going to give Horrors of Malformed Men a 2.5 tofu dog rating. So, it's slightly better than average, but nothing truly transcendent. Alright, so moving along, now we're getting into the 1970s. We're starting off with a film from 1970 that is not good at all. I'm not really sure why I even bothered watching it, but I put it on the list, and I'm a completist, and we'll talk about that tomorrow, begrudgingly. Alright, well that's today's installment of 31 Days of Horror-Ween. I will be seeing you in just a few.